Bonsoir, mes amis. Welcome back to Monaco. Last time, the gentleman played a game of chicken and lost. This time I'm gonna be a little bit quiet for a while because we have to deal with a music song I really like, and we get to see our good buddy Pierre.
Shadows closing on me, the pounding of my heart rings through the night. Can feel my blood sizzling when forbidden touches my fingertips. I can't resist. They never see me coming. They never hear me slip away. The rush of lust takes over, flowing from my spine till my hands can't resist. Lust possess what you held but it wasn't. When the night falls on us and the darkness guards my silence, nothing will stop me, or for sure you'll find a knife in your back if you get in my way. The thirst for the heist, that's what makes my world go round and round. Everything that's yours is mine.
Poor Pierre just can't catch a break. So, the first two levels of, the first two floors of this level serve as sort of a credits. You know, we can give some credit to Andy Schatz and Andy Nguyen, along with all the other people involved in making Monaco such a great game. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. You may have noticed that there are only 4 characters available: the Pickpocket, Locksmith, Lookout, and the Cleaner. You may also notice that me playing the Pickpocket, I seem to have the Gentleman's Disguise. That's because all 4 characters are now sharing the abilities of the other characters. The Pickpocket is sharing the Gentleman, the Locksmith is sharing the Mole, the Lookout is sharing the Redhead, and the Cleaner is sharing the Hacker. This is because those characters are those other characters. Also, this level is particularly hard.
Il y a quelqu'un. Je vais te tuer.
La partie se termine ici.
Case in point. Anyway, So this level's pretty difficult, and it took me quite a few tries to get it right. But according to the Pickpocket, and I believe at least this portion of the Pickpocket story can be taken at face value, all of the criminals, the whole time, there have only been really 4 criminals. Because it makes sense. The entire time throughout the Pickpocket story, we've only been hearing from 4 of them, and the other 4 just never chipped in. So, how couldn't there be only 4 criminals? The only 2 people's words we have to go off of are the Locksmith and the Pickpocket. Something else to keep in mind is when we were going through the origin stories, the lookout said that the Pickpocket has some nuggets of truth if you know where to look. She also said that the Pickpocket used to be a wealthy man, but at some point lost his fortune. That kind of fits in with the origin story for the gentleman, who used to be a banker, but had all of his assets seized. Originally, this was the finale of Monaco, so I don't think they put that much thought into it to begin with. But as we go into some of the further levels, we'll see just how much it pans out. Much like on the last level, Au revoir, we have to deal with a good number of gendarmes this time around. And you actually may notice that, whereas in the Locksmith story, we started off with the prison break, this time around we're ending with it. Maybe that's a nice little bit of symmetry. So, I suppose the question then is, just how trustworthy are our sources here? We can easily assume that the Pickpocket story here is something that is going on in the moment. So because this is currently happening, I would say this is probably one of the more accurate takes on the current situation. There are only 4 thieves breaking out of prison. It just so happens that those 4 thieves are all 8 thieves. The Locksmith story, whereas the lookout says the Locksmith is not prone to making things up, well, maybe he's been fed a story. The mole seems to be pretty pliable as far as his activities go. He could easily be talked into doing something else.
Arrête-toi, voleur!
Oddly enough, as we move up from maximum security to minimum security, I really feel like the security gets tougher as we're moving up in levels.
Stop! Arrêtez-vous immédiatement. Je vais... Ouais. Bon. Ça devait être un chat.
If you're so inclined, the area on the lower right that we came in from also has the staircase at the minimum security. And if you take those stairs all the way up, they will literally lead you directly out of the level. They will place you right next to the escape vehicles. It's a path you can take, but you are definitely not going to clean the level out if you do that. The only way you'll have to get in the front door is by either setting off an alarm panel or using a rocket to blow it up. And neither one is particularly appealing. I feel like the Pickpocket is one of the best characters to take on this level. Because, one, he has the overpowered skill set of both the Pickpocket and the Gentleman. Hector will run around and grab pieces of gold for you, and at the same time, if you find yourself in a bit of a rough situation, The Gentleman's Disguise can save you from quite a few messy circumstances. As for other characters, the Locksmith is about as useful as ever. He doesn't get a whole lot of love, but being able to open doors and safes 3 times as fast is supremely useful. On top of that, he also gets the mole's abilities. Obviously, you can't dig through every single set of walls on this level, but you can dig through a good number of them. From that area on the right we came into this level from, you can dig quite a few walls that can make your life easier. Also, I really like the cell block here. Every corner of the cell block has a cone laser that is facing onto an entire length of the area. And you have to avoid the floor panels as well. If you're standing right next to them like I am now, you can turn them off without having to worry about setting off an alarm. But you also have to move pretty quickly to avoid stepping on the floor panels. It requires a level of precision that most people are not exactly prepared to deal with. As for the other characters, the Lookout, having the abilities of the Redhead, is obviously useful because she's the lookout, so you can see any enemies coming your way. But also the Redhead can help you open these alarm doors and the locked doors. If she gets her little minion, she can make her way over there pretty quickly. The Cleaner is as useful as ever, being able to knock out people that he's standing on top of. But you can also use the Hacker's abilities to knock out a lot of this security, and you can see it's pretty bad here. It only gets worse on street level. The typical suspects here on the left is a pretty neat reference to The Usual Suspects, which is really what this game is turning into, isn't it? The best way I've found to deal with nearly everything on street level is to blow it all up. So we're going to be going for that block of C4 you see just to my right here. There are a couple of nasty security systems to deal with here. The first one I'm concerned with is in the upper left. There's a room for interrogation. There's a cone laser watching the entire room. There is an agent interrogating a civilian, and there is a pistol cop watching the whole proceedings. On top of that, to even get into the room, you have to go past the area with the typical suspects, which, the problem with that is there's a lot of civilians that are more than willing to call a guard on you at any second. So we'll take a look in here from the right, and maybe blow a few things up. Usually what I tend to do is I'll go to the top, just under the typical suspects, plant a block of C4 at the doorway there, because that door is locked, because we can't make this easy. And then at some point they'll just dash in, hit the gold, and we'll be set to go. But I feel like this works out pretty well as well.
Bouge d'un poil et tu vas voir. Ce coup-ci, je te laisse en vie.
With interrogation out of the way, the only other major area of concern is processing, which is the very entrance of the prison. Inspector Voltaire wasn't kidding when he said it was going to be pretty difficult for the gentleman to even make it through the front door, There's a lot of security there. I'll talk more about it when we're looking directly at it.
Oh oui, oui, oui.
The issues with the processing center, which is right here on the right, is that there are 4 guards watching the front entrance. In addition, there are those laser gates preventing any exit to the safe, on top of, well, the safe itself. On top of that, there's an alarm door on the way out. This entire area is just designed to make it as difficult as possible to leave. And that's not a bad thing. Luckily, like most problems, it can be solved with a liberal application of explosives. Planting a block right here will allow you to knock out both laser gates. So that way you don't have to worry about getting through those on your way through. And then if you plant a block right below the safe, you not only open up the safe, but you also blow away the alarm door. Even if you do get a little bit of attention on the way through, with the safe being open and the alarm door being completely gone, the only thing you have to do is make your way out the front door and nobody can stop you.
Quoi? Oh, et puis... Attends, je suis d'avoir...
That's all for now. Please join me next time when we tackle the final campaign of Monaco.